Hi everyone, here at the Monarch Center, we find it very useful to implement visual supports with our learners who have ASDs. It is very important to implement visual supports that play to the learner's strengths and weaknesses. And so for today's training session, I'm going to be discussing a first-then board. I will go over exactly what a first-then board is, what type of learner it is best suited for, how to implement the first-then board, and then this will be followed by a role play just to provide further clarification. So to get started, basically a first-then board communicates a sequence of events to a learner that if they complete one activity, then they will gain access to an activity that they prefer. So for the IT will usually choose the first or the preferred activity, and then the learner will choose the then or the non-preferred activity. The activities can be displayed in pictures or words, and they can be cut out and placed on a first-then board. To kind of provide a visual, just to understand exactly what I'm talking about, I'll show you a couple examples. So first we have one with pictures. So the IT would have chosen first, so here we have work, and then the learner would have chosen the computer for then. So once they complete their work, then they gain access to the computer. So this is an example where you can use pictures. The next is one where you could use words. So this would be best for a learner who is able to read words, so if they're more advanced. So this one, we'll go with the example we had last time. First, and then you would write the word work, then, and you would write the word computer. So once they complete their work, then they gain access to the computer. So for learners who are not familiar with the first-then board, you may need to prompt them in the beginning. So this could be a gestural prompt or a full physical prompt. Or you could also choose a preferred activity for the first as well as for the then, because this will just allow them to understand the sequence of events. So if they complete one activity, then they get the next activity. So moving right along, I'm going to discuss the type of learners that this is best for. So if your learner has difficulty transitioning from one activity to the next, this would be good for them. A second type of learner that this is good for is one that exhibits problem behavior around certain tasks. Another would be if your learner is having difficulty completing a task, having this visual reminder that if they complete this difficult task, then they will gain access to a preferred activity, will help them get through that. As well, this is best for learners who don't necessarily understand the contingencies of their reinforcement. So now you may be wondering, how exactly would you implement a first-then board? So I'm just going to use our first example here. So the IT would have a few options of different things that the learner could complete. So here they chose work. So the IT would take the picture and they would place it right here under the word first, and then they would instruct the learner to then choose a preferred activity, and they would have a variety of different things they can choose from. And so in this case, the learner chose the computer. So then once that is complete, the instructor will then instruct the learner to complete their work. Once they complete their work, they take that picture off, and they are provided access to what would be the computer in this case. So then, now I'm going to to provide further clarification, I'm going to have a role play with a learner. And so if you want to come join me. Sure, we're in there. Okay, so our particular learner that we're implementing this with at our clinic has a big preference for the movie Frozen. And so I've created a first-then board that has the movie Frozen implemented into it. This will just gauge their interest a little bit more, just to remind them that the visual schedule is there. So to get started, we have this little book that I made. So here you have where you can choose the first, where we have table work, circle time, and cleanup. So I will choose one of these activities. So I'm going to choose table work, of which I will place under the first activity, just like this. And then I'm going to hand this over to our learner, who is Art today, and he is going to choose, he has the option of watching the Frozen DVD, playing with the dolls from the movie, or he can just have a snack if that's what he would prefer. So I'm going to give Art his work that he's going to need to complete, and as soon as he completes his work, he will then gain access to his snack. So Art, here's your work. So then I would take off the work because he completed that, and now he gains access to his snack. So here's your snack, and you can enjoy that. So that completes today's training session on our first then board. I hope this was an informative session, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask.